Okay, picture this. It all began in 2005 with a whirlwind romance that had me engaged on June 2nd and exchanging vows with the woman of my dreams on July 23rd. Yes, you heard the dates right. I bid farewell to my childhood hometown of Orlando, Florida, don't hold that against me, and embark on an adventure to New York City to help kickstart what became over a dozen churches. Our first apartment in NYC was a tiny 12 by 12 studio that cost a jaw-dropping $13.50 a month. And get this, we signed the lease for that apartment without even laying eyes on it. Would not recommend. Since then, my wife and I have hopped around the city like a pair of nomads. We've called the Upper East Side, the Upper West Side, Stuytown, and even Washington Heights, you know. We've called all those places home. And now we currently live in Long Island City in the beautiful borough of Queens. And somewhere along the journey, 3 incredible kiddos made their grand entrance into our lives, bringing along all the chaos, comedy, and love that you would expect from 3 littles. So here's the $1 million question. What's it really like being a parent to the 3 most amazing kids in the universe while juggling full-time jobs, trying to create content, all in the heart of the biggest little city on Earth? Well, I'm not an expert on developing young humans. That award goes to my amazing wife. But I've got a few nuggets of wisdom that I believe will be helpful. Just some things I've learned along the way. But first, a disclaimer. I want to start off by saying how incredibly fortunate I know that I am to have these little bundles of joy in my life. And I know that some of you out there might be facing challenges when it comes to starting a family, whether it's struggling to conceive or dealing with other obstacles. I want you to know that I see you. My wife and I have ridden the roller coaster of emotions, experiencing soaring highs and devastating lows throughout our journey of creating, birthing, and raising children. So when I share my honest thoughts, opinions, or even throw in a dash of sarcasm, please remember that it doesn't diminish the immense gratitude I have for my own family. And to those of you who feel like you're alone in the struggle of becoming a parent or being a parent, let me assure you, you're not alone. Countless of others are walking a similar path, facing the same heartaches and challenges. And if you ever need someone to lean on, or even just a listening ear, someone to yell at, please know that you can reach out to me for support. Remember, you're loved, and I want this channel to be a place of support and inclusion where we can navigate through troubling times and celebrate successes together. With all that said, creating and birthing and raising a child, or multiple children for that matter, is always going to be challenging for many different reasons. There is, however, one piece of advice I give to any parent that asks for it, whether they're having their first kid or they've already had children in the past. Keep in mind, when you have a child, you will most likely, and hopefully, be surrounded by community that makes you meals, cleans your home, and helps you in all sorts of ways. There will come a time, however, when that help disappears, just straight up dries up. People will move on with their life. They still love you, and they are thrilled that you've had a child. They love your child. However, they will move on with their life. There's gonna come a point where you're going to feel like your head is underwater, and your entire life will, for good reason, fully revolve around this new little baby, along with your other kids that you may or may not have. So once your head comes above water, you'll be tempted to think to yourself, why isn't everyone supporting me or caring about this new addition to my family like they did in the beginning? Trust me, they love you and they care. They've just moved on with their lives. You're not on your own. You're simply going to have to ask for help at this point. And those people will come around and help you. Trust me. Okay, here's my next thing. A wise person sleeps when they can. A fool sleeps when they must. You've heard some version of this before. It's real. Sleep when the baby sleeps. I hate that I have to say this, but make sure along with sleep that your health is a high priority. I'm not here to shame anyone's habits or body styles. Don't get me wrong, I have plenty that I need to work on. However, if you're not getting the rest you need, and if you're not as healthy as you need to be, your parenting is going to suffer. And if you don't give your body the rest and health it needs, your body will make you rest. If you continue to do like all-night benders because it's your only alone time, eventually your body will make you shut down so that it can recuperate and survive. So prioritize your health and make sure you're getting enough rest, or some rest, as much as you can. This will allow you to be a parent that parents well and not be a zombie, especially in such a high demanding place like NYC. This is huge. This is huge. We forget this one. Your partner comes first. Prioritize whoever you are raising your children with. They come first. Obviously, unhealthy situations, dangerous situations, or emergencies change this. If there's a broken arm or a kidnapping, you will obviously drop everything to make sure your children are safe. Apart from those types of emergencies, prioritize time with your spouse. I've heard some say that they have like this 3x3 rule. The 3x3 rule is a way to intentionally plan your time together as a couple to be alone. Every week, you and your wife set aside 3 hours to spend alone with one another and another 3 hours to spend completely by yourselves. This time can be taken like all in one day or split up and spread across the week as you like. You take turns, like I'm gonna go get some alone time, you're with the children. You go get alone time, I'm with the kid. We need to be separate, we need to recuperate, we need to take deep breaths, meditate, pray, whatever you gotta do. There's all sorts of other number-based rules that you're gonna find helpful as well. And here's another one, the 7-7-7 dating rule, which means a date night every week, every 7 days, a night away alone as a couple every 7 weeks, and a holiday alone or as a couple every 7 months. Or the 2-2-2 rule that involves going on a date every 2 weeks, spending a weekend away every 2 months, and taking a week-long vacation alone away every 2 years. Then there's this time in front of your kids where it is so important to support each other. This is the time where you're not sneaking away to recuperate and to recharge. This is when you're in front of your kids. Like, no matter where you live, publicly shaming, ridiculing, and correcting your spouse is gonna set unhealthy boundaries for your kids, especially living in tight spaces. I live in a 1,000 square foot, 3-bedroom apartment. 3 bedrooms, amazing. Big step up from the studio my wife and I spent our first year of marriage in. And however, before we had 3 kids, we did live at one point in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 kids. That's 4 people in a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm saying all of this so that you know you're not always going to live this out perfectly. There's gonna be moments of frustration where you lash out at your partner in front of your kids. Your friends are gonna see you lash out at your partner at a dinner, and all the other parents at the local playground are gonna watch you lose your temper from time to time. Give yourself some grace. People make mistakes. However, if you can set a culture in your home where your spouse is honored and supported and valued, your kids will see what a healthy relationship looks like lived out in stressful situations. My wife and I practice, and we don't always get it perfectly right, but if there's an issue where we're in front of the kids and we need to like bring something up that's like, hey, I didn't like how you did that, we're like, hey, can I talk to you in the other room? Our kids know we're about to, share something with each other that we're not happy about it, but we're not doing it in front of them, chastising the other person. We're showing them how to create healthy boundaries inside of stressful situations. NYC childcare is astronomical. You think rent is high? Try getting a babysitter. This is probably universally true, but you have 2 choices. One spouse stays home and watches the baby. That's choice number 1. Or 2, both spouses work, but be prepared for one of your salaries to strictly pay for childcare. It's almost always a wash. I mean, I guess there's a third thing, which would be just win the lottery and never work again and have all that you need paid for. Oh, but Patrick, money doesn't solve all your problems. I'm sorry, but I cannot think of one problem I have right now that money would not immediately solve. Just me? No? Okay. Back to reality. Don't forget, no money, more problems. Basically, when new parents ask me what to expect, or parents ask me what to expect with their second or third kid, I always tell them that I have no idea what to expect. I tell them to prepare. This is such a sad piece of advice. Just prepare to be poor for a few years. Don't worry, eventually you're gonna be back on your feet, it'll all balance out. I will never forget how loudly my wife celebrated when she found out that my 2-year-old's daycare was only $2,100 a month. Those are the words she used. She said those words. Patrick, it's only $2,100 a month. Only. Yay. Now, if you're already thinking to yourself, I was not made for 24/7 parenting. Well, you have every right to feel that, and you're like most people. It's not a problem to say that out loud. I know stay-at-home parents right now who are also not meant for that role. You're allowed for that to not be you, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. Also, if you're one of those parents that does want to stay home, you shouldn't feel bad about that either. But there's going to be times of sacrifice when your current reality doesn't fit inside your preferences. When it comes to parenting, welcome to parenting. This goes for every parent, not just NYC parents, but I think it especially applies to NYC parents. It's imperative that you keep some sort of written record of the hilarious things your child says and does, along with the sentimental stuff. And I've taken this one step further. I created an email address and a social media account for all my kids the day they were born. Regularly, I will send them an email. They don't have access to this account, but years later, I'm going to give them access, and they're going to have years of messages from their dad, encouraging them, laughing with them, sometimes laughing at them. And these memories wouldn't have existed if I had just forgotten about it, not written it down, not shared with them. Taking the time to write it down and share it with them allows them to have like this record of their life that's gonna be so cool to look back on. And when I post a photo of my kids, I tag them with the names I created for them on Instagram. And once we allow them to have access to social media, they will see countless posts with them tagged. This gives them a leg up and shows them how to act appropriately online. It's also fun to look back on. And then we get to the phrase that everybody knows, it takes a village. It's not just you and your spouse. When you can, find friends. If you're at that park or that event in the city that your kids are a part of, find friends that the kids can play with. If you don't find friends for your kids, they will find them for you. You want to be a part of that process and help them with it. Invite these kids over. This will give you a break throughout the day because your kids will play with themselves and you'll deal with way less hand-holding, sometimes literally. And find friends, whether they have kids or not, that can speak into the lives of your kids. It would be a tragedy for your kids to one day leave your home only having your experience to guide them, along with whatever they can just put together by watching people at their school or sports teams or whatever your kids are into. There are people around you with valuable experiences that you can share with your kids that they're going to grow from. And when you need help from one of those friends, ask for it. Don't do this journey on your own. You won't make it. Okay, finally, just remember, there's no such thing as a professional parent. I know there's so much more we could talk about, and I'm gonna kick myself after publishing this video because there's going to be something I wish we would have said or I would have said or shared. That's okay. We're all a work in progress. And to that point, I wanna leave you with this. Yes, there are professional sleep coaches, doctors, mental health experts, educators, and all sorts of professionals that can speak to the specific areas of your child's life. However, there's no professional parent for your kids, or anybody's kids for that matter. Again, you're a work in progress. There are things throughout the entire journey of parenting that you're going to have to learn. There are many things from your past, your own parents, that you were taught that you may have to even unlearn. And please, hear me say this. You're going to make mistakes. Have confidence in yourself. Apologize often, and when all else fails, let your kids remember you by the massive amounts of love you showed above all else. You got this. Now I'm gonna go home and see my kids. Pray for me!